Get ready, because here's your host, Tyson Mutrix.
Welcome back to the Guild Live Show. I am Tyson Mutrix. I have an interesting one. It's been a really odd week when it comes to things in the news. It's weird because some of the articles are saying there's not a lot going on with AI. There's also a lot going on with AI. So we're not just going to talk about AI today. There's other things too. It's just kind of a weird news week when it comes to stories. So some of the things I'm going to talk about, there's one story that I did want to talk about that I'm going to talk about next week. And I think but I'm going to give you that teaser. I'll kind of leave that one there, but, it was just kind of an interesting week. But it was kind of a fun one to put together as well because of that. It did force me to be a little bit more creative when it comes to what I was going to talk about. So that's always kind of a fun little challenge for me. But I'm going to be talking about a little bit when it comes to Fiverr's new Gary. We're going to be talking a little bit about virtual humans, so some virtual salespeople, that's an interesting one. A video, whether you got 8 minutes, that was an interesting one. Cleo Con job, that's kind of the play on Cleo Con, but I'll explain. We'll explain in a few, and then what is in your cup? That's a fun little video we're going to play near the end too. That's more of like a feel good kind of a video. We'll play short one, but it's gonna be a good one. First up though, we're going to be talking about Fiverr's Gary. And this is an AI generated character, Gary is, that is it's in a video, and I'll share the article with you too, because it's an interesting thing. What's odd in my opinion about this in particular when it comes to Gary is that it seems to be that Fiverr is kind of going around its base of people that are actually doing the work, the gig workers. So Fiverr showcases AI produced videos for tapping into viral trends. Okay. And the freelance platform wants marketers to use its artificial intelligence tools to disrupt the industry model. So it does say it wants marketers to me. And that says, okay, well, we'll just, instead of hiring these freelancers, we'll just freaking use it ourselves as the marketers. This article in particular, it's from marketingdive.com in case you want to know. In the article, Fiverr, a freelance online marketplace, introduced Gary, an artificial intelligence generated brand character, on Monday, August 18th. There's a video attached. We're going to play this as well. A video depicting Gary in a number of scenarios showcases Fiverr's ability to quickly generate video marketing content with AI and freelancer prompts so marketers can reference viral moments while they're still relevant. So check this out. Here's the video.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that we and everything around us are made by AI professionals on Fiverr?
Yep.
Well, if they're so professional, why did they make this coffee taste like soap?
I'd be careful with that skepticism, Gary.
Why? You think they'll use their godlike powers to get back at me? Huh. You know what? Bring it on. Oh, you're leaving me? For him? What do you mean you can't get out? What are you doing? Don't you know your own son? Does anyone smell anything? I think there's been some kind of mix-up. They're screaming your name from beyond the grave.
Well,
Still tastes like soap. This stuff's actually kind of nice once you get used to it.
So that's Gary. An interesting one for sure. I wonder kind of what, because you can tell a lot of those characters were AI characters. They were not actors, which is interesting. Because I do wonder what actors actually think about that. The effort arrives as marketers continue to embrace AI, with more than half of ad buyers using the tech for video creation, according to recent IAB research. Pairing the tech with Fiverr's freelancers for creative ideation could be a way for the platform to differentiate itself as brands continue to rely heavily on popular cultural moments to try to break through and build awareness with consumers. The stunt takes specific aim at the agency process and is intended to demonstrate how freelancers are able to use Fiverr's AI tools to deliver agent quality content at a fraction of the cost and time. The push is exclusive to social media and includes no traditional media buy. In one scene in the video, Gary falls off a tower, which you saw, Tower of Cans, while wearing high heels, a reference to the Nicki Minaj heel challenge, which started gaining social media traction at the end of July. Yada, yada, yada. So, and then it kind of talks about their revenue at the end. It's a little confusing to me as to what it is. And I know it sounds like they're trying to funnel people into their freelancers, but I do wonder if there's something that's like, let's say I just want to sign up as a freelancer. What's to stop me from doing that and then using the AI myself? I wonder if they've got some sort of fail safes in there to prevent that from happening if it's that innovative of a product. So we'll see. That's an interesting thing for you all to check out. If you do have some videos you want to hire some freelancers to do. I know for MaxLawCon, we are using, not for AI, but who knows, maybe they'll put something together. We're using Fiverr to test out some people for some video stuff for MaxLawCon and for actually at the conference, not like ads or anything, but for the conference. So remember, get your tickets, by the way. We're almost sold out. You're going to miss out if you don't get your tickets. So maxlawcon.com. That wasn't intended to be a plug, but it's one of those things that we are using Fiverr for something. All right. The next story we have up is this one is another one about AI, and it's about virtual humans. This is one that is from Wired. Chinese virtual human salespeople are outperforming their real human counterparts. The reason why I brought this one up is because of the points that were made in this article. Okay. Built using AI technology from Baidu and DeepSeek, the virtual live streamers sell everything from wet wipes to printers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sales is not something I saw. I know, and by the way, before I finish what I'm about to say, yes, I've heard people using AI for phone calls and answering and all that. I've definitely heard that. What I did not foresee is that salespeople would be one of the ones that are replaced so easily. I saw a post by someone yesterday, unrelated to this article, that was talking about how one of their people had made one of their AI agents had made $5,000 in like 2 hours or something like that. And then it was talked about how over 24 hours, how much he was making. And they compared that to what a salesperson normally makes in a day. And it was like $1,500, something crazy different when it comes to, and I can't remember the total amount for the AI agent over the 24-hour period, but they talked about how the agent doesn't sleep, right? The agent just goes 24 hours a day, which allows it, you have way more time. You have about, what was that, 16 hours? If you're giving the human salesperson full credit for the 8 hours, which we all know that they're probably not working the full 8 hours just because we're humans and you kind of wear down. So you're talking about an agent that goes 24 hours versus, let's be honest, like maybe 4 hours of real work. That's probably what it is. It's kind of an interesting thing. But in this, the salesperson hawking both brother printers on Taobao works hard, like really hard, at any time of the day, even when there's no audience on the Chinese e-commerce platform. The same woman wearing a white shirt and black skirt is always live streaming, boasting about the various features of different office printers. She has a phone in one hand and often checks it as if to read a sales script or monitor monitor the viewer comments coming in. So it's an interesting thing we've got here. And I was going to see if I could pull up the video of this this bot, AI bot, but it doesn't have the video actually on here. The technology has allowed companies to make their live streams. I would skip down in the article quite a bit. I'll go ahead and pull this on the screen so people that are watching it, you can actually see it, what I'm reading here. And those of you that are listening, you can just listen along. The technology has allowed companies to make their live streams run 24/7, 365 days a year, and what has become the most powerful marketing channel in China today. In 2024, over 1/3 of all e-commerce sales in the country are estimated to have happened on live streams, and 1 in 2 people has shopped while watching a broadcast, according to a report published by China International Electronic Commerce Center, a government-affiliated research institute. And the company they're talking about is the PLTF, so platform, PLTFRM. That's all caps platform. Is not the only company working in this space. In June, Baidu, one of the largest tech companies in China, hosted a live stream session featuring an AI version of Lu Yonghao, an e-commerce influencer with millions of social media followers. I'm sure I screwed that name up, but the 6-hour live stream session drew over 13 million views and generated over 55 million RMB. That's $7.7 million in gross merchandise sales. Yada, yada, yada. Here's what's interesting, right? There's a lot of attorneys that are doing the transactional work, mostly the estate planning attorneys that are doing webinars. Imagine if you've got something like this going 24 hours a day, doing these webinars for you. That's something you're talking about just going, you do 1 an hour. So you have 1 an hour, or however many you want to do, and boom. I'm assuming that a lot of these take an hour. So you do 24 in a day, as opposed to what if you do 1 or 2 in a day. I don't know what the typical schedule is, but you can do something like this is that effective. That's pretty incredible. See if I can actually find one of it doesn't look like it. So there's another article from Wired, inside the startling chaotic rise of Alibaba's Singles Day bonanza. So that's a completely different article, but it doesn't show the actual. Here's another one about promoters getting paid, and then it doesn't actually show the this software. That's something I really wanted to see, but it doesn't show it anywhere. But it would be really kind of nice if we could show that. And here's another one: the meteoric rise of Temu and Pinduoduo, and what might finally slow them down. So that's another article. Wired's got some pretty cool articles sometimes. So we'll take that down, and we're going to go into our next story because I want to make sure that I can get to everything. And I am a little bit behind schedule when it comes to the show, so we're going to keep going. Got 8 minutes. All right, this is a good one. I couldn't wait to show this to you. This is Simon Sinek that is going to be talking here. And I'm going to throw him up on the screen so you can watch this video. But I like Simon quite a bit. He's got some really good books, but check out this video.
A friend of mine, I went to her house for dinner. Hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks. And just sort of catching up, I said, how have you been? She goes, last week was really, really rough. She told me what happened. I said, why didn't you call me? She goes, I did. I'm like, you didn't. She's like, I did. So I pull up my phone to prove to her that she didn't. And there in the text it says, what are you doing? Want to come over? Want to have dinner on Thursday? I'm like, you mean these texts? The one that sound like every other text you've ever sent me? How do I know that that's a cry for help? And so she'd read this article that said that when somebody's in need, all they need is 8 minutes of attention from a friend to feel not alone. Not to solve a problem, but just to feel not alone. And so we came up with a shorthand with each other, which is when we're in need, we text each other and say, do you have 8 minutes? What that means is, I need you. Anyone can step out of a meeting, step out of whatever they're doing for 8 minutes to call a friend and say, are you okay? You're not going to solve it. You're not going to You'll get with them later for an hour, 2 hours, whatever they need, but just long enough to feel not alone. And the people who feel guilty calling you because they don't want to bother you or interrupt you, nobody feels guilty for taking 8 minutes. So my ask is adopt these little practices and be better friends to your friends. Friend of mine.
I absolutely loved that. When I heard that, I was thinking, wow, what a beautiful way of reshaping someone that's, in need of talking to someone, and in a way of, without being too overbearing, in a way of not seeming like you're kind of naggy or whiny, that, hey, like, I need somebody I gotta talk to. So anyone that has my cell phone number, that if you're a listener or a viewer, feel free at any point, just, got 8 minutes, or do you have 8 minutes? Feel free to text me. I'll know exactly what you mean. Happy to talk to you. If you get one from me, know that's, I just need someone to talk to. Yeah, Abby, you know what? Yesterday was kind of one of those days, to be, if I'm being completely, or I guess Monday. I guess I didn't really need it was one of those things where it was a really, really rough day, because I had, that morning, I deposed the girlfriend of the person that's accused of murdering one of my best friend's dads. And that was a really tough one to do. And it was like one of those things that it was like, it was just kind of hard to get through. I had to kind of push through, and then afterwards I just kind of had to just decompress. And if someone else is going through something like that, where it's like a tough day, I'd love for them to, if the best way for them to decompress is just to call and talk to me, I'd be happy to just kind of help walk them through that and just listen. I didn't need to call anybody, something I just needed some time, but we all deal with those situations in different ways. And that's why I love that video so much, because he makes it so simple, right? You're kind of cut through it. Some people out, like me, have problems sometimes admitting things like that. And so just saying, hey, you got 8 minutes. It gives someone like me, that ability to let you know, hey, I'm hurting, I need to talk to somebody, without actually saying it, because I'm not someone that will say it. I'm just not. I'm telling you that now. I won't tell you that, because I'm not. I was made different. I was raised differently, and so I just don't. That's just not how I do it. But so I would say something like, "Hey, I got 8 minutes." Like, that's something that I would totally say. So hopefully that's useful to some of you, where and maybe it's also a message to maybe answer the phone when people call. So let's get to our next episode, CleoCon. All right, CleoCon job. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still confused by how I feel about this and why I feel the way I do. Okay. This isn't something where I've completely made up my mind on it, but something feels weird about it. Something feels odd about it. And I'm going to pull up the article right now. And it's from Business Insider, which I think is kind of it's not something I typically would cite, but this caught my attention. The title is what caught my attention, and I'm glad I actually went and read the article, because it's misleading. That being said, it's not fully misleading. The article, this is part of the reason why I don't like Business Insider that much, because they have a lot of these headlines that are kind of like this, that don't really tell you the story. But the title of the article is, Clio built its empire on small law firms. Now it's spending $1 billion to buy a seat at the table, at big law's table. My first reaction was like, that's BS. That's like the bait and switch. It's like you built, it's what it said, like you built your empire on small law firms. And I know it's not always small versus big and all that, but I guess part of it maybe comes from, I'm dealing with these insurance companies all the time, fighting these insurance companies. I know there's a lot of injury firms that use Clio, and they're fighting these insurance companies, these big companies, these big firms that are hired by these big insurance companies. And that's maybe part of what kind of chaps me a little bit about this. But there are some points down here. So Clio just made the largest deal in legal tech history, buying VLEX for $1 billion. Though Clio is far from a household name, the deal could wreak havoc on the legal industry. I'd say it's, when it comes to like law firm ownership, I would call it it's probably a household name, in my opinion. Clio's bet has two ambitions: bust up the legal research duopoly and sell into larger firms. Okay, so this is where I am very torn about this, because those are two big ambitions. What chaps me is the getting into the larger firm market. However, I also have a big problem with the big two when it comes to legal research. A big problem I have is that they bought one of them. I'm not going to mention who they are. They bought Case Text essentially to kill it. And now Case Text is no longer a thing. That really makes me mad. Case Text was a great product. They had co-counsel. And they bought it because they knew that they were a legitimate competitor. That's what they were becoming. And you could get their services for a fraction of the cost. And so that really chaps me when it comes to them. So if Clio can come up with something, if by buying VLEX, that is their goal, is to break up that duopoly. Okay, I'm okay with that. When Clio bought VLEX for $1 billion in June, it called the acquisition a turning point for the future of legal work. So far, industry watchers aren't convinced. Clio is one of the legal tech's dinosaurs. For nearly 2 decades, it sold the unglamorous software that law firms use to send invoices and track cases. The $3 billion company, which, like, unglamorous software. That's like one of the most important softwares that we have, if not the most important software. That's why I think it's crazy. But the $3 billion company has enjoyed a recent growth spurt, adding $100 million in revenue annually for 2 straight years. Pretty good. The company it scooped up, VLEX, is a different animal, a pioneer in legal research and the closest thing yet to a serious rival to LexisNexis and Westlaw, both deep repositories of case law. It built a vast digital law library and, more recently, layered in generative artificial intelligence to help lawyers search it. So that's, in a nutshell, what it's about. As you can see, those of you watching, it's fairly long article, but in a nutshell, that's what it's about. There is, at the ends of the article with, history suggests Clio may not get the warm welcome it wants. I do wonder how Big Law will respond to this. Part of me wonders, are they going to be offended? Little law, little law software is coming in and wants us to pay for their services. Go away, kind of a thing. That's gonna sort of that ivory tower that I picture. But I shouldn't be so hard on them. I'm kind of cranky today. Let's move on to the next story. Good luck, Clio. Hopefully you can break up that duopoly, because that'll make me very happy. I don't know about the other stuff, so still kind of torn on it. All right, the next story is what's in your cup. It's a video that I think this is a good way of ending this video. I think this show, it's pretty good. And so let me try to pull it up. It's another one that I found on X. And here we go. Let me know what you think.
Buddhist monk asked his students a question. He said, if you're carrying a cup of coffee and someone bumps into you, why did you spill the coffee? Each and every one of his students said, because someone bumped into me. And he said, no, the reason why you spilled the coffee is because that's what you were carrying in your cup. If you were carrying water, you would have spilled water. Then he said something profound. He said, whenever life shakes you, whatever you're carrying is going to spill out. So if you're carrying fear, jealousy, anger, greed, that's what's going to spill out. But if you're carrying love, compassion, kindness, empathy, that's what's going to spill out. So each and every day, you should pause and think to yourself, what am I carrying in my cup today? I like that.
I like that too. I wish I could give credit to this gentleman. I don't know what his name is. He could be like a big influencer. I do not know. I don't know. My apologies to him. Apologies to him. But it appears his handle on TikTok is Global Mind Apparel. So Global Mind Apparel. So at Global Mind Apparel. Thank you. They give you a follow. I am on TikTok, but I don't get on TikTok. So hopefully he's on something else that I can follow him on. But I like the idea. It's a good reminder that feelings can be like germs, right? So a smile, passing on a smile to someone can make someone happy. Doing something good for them, open the door, picking up something that they dropped. Great. Those things tend to happen when you're happy, you're in a good mood. Your reaction when you're not in the greatest of mood, it can definitely spill over. And I like the way it did that. I liked a lot of things about it, the video, but I like the whole concept. I like the way he ended with saying he liked that because we're very positive, but also filling your life with love and everything. I think that's really good. So I definitely want people to be happy. Happy people, it's just makes for, better world. It really does. It's one of those things where, I would love for everyone to be happy. Although happy is one of those things I've talked about before. It's not a destination. It's one of those things where things ebb and flow. People have bad days, have good days. Leads back to kind of that, got 8 minutes, right? Sometimes we have tough days, and sometimes you need 8 minutes, and you need to talk to somebody to turn your day around a little bit. Your interactions with your employees, your coworkers, your children, your spouse, court people, jurors, all of that comes through very, very easily. So just be very conscious of what's in your cup, and hopefully it's full of love and happiness and joy and all the good stuff. So that was a good way of wrapping up the show. So hopefully you got something from this, whether it's, saying hi to Gary, the virtual human salespeople, whether you got 8 minutes or not, the Clio acquisition, or what's in your cup. Hopefully you got something from it. I will talk to you next week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Our next mastermind in New York City is sold out. But don't worry, there's still time to get your tickets to the Mastermind and Max LawCon in Nashville in October. Max LawCon is 2 days of immersive learning, powerful insights, and meaningful connections, all designed to provide actionable strategies you'll take back to your firm and implement right away. No fluff, just real talk and tangible takeaways you can implement immediately. Go to maxlawevents.com for more details.
I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity.